This is the instrumental version of what could be the Habitat for Humanity theme song. I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Except now, all over this world is more like it. Beyond all 50 states, Habitat is building houses and hope from Argentina to Zimbabwe, and more than 60 countries in between. But we should set one thing straight right off the bat. Contrary to popular opinion, this is not Jimmy Carter's outfit. Oh, he's a long-time volunteer, but President Carter neither founded the organization nor has he ever run it. The man who did and does is one Millard Fuller.
Somebody once said, it's amazing what you can accomplish if you don't worry about who gets the credit. I recruited Jimmy Carter to work with Habitat for Humanity, and I think it's one of the best things I ever did, because he has been an incredible blessing to Habitat for Humanity.
To be sure, once President and Mrs. Carter got involved in 1984, the organization went from Habitat for what to a household name. But Millard and his wife, Linda, had started it all almost a decade earlier. A self-described in-it-only-for-the-buck businessman, Fuller made his first million at age 29, back when $1 million was real money. Then he saw the light, heard the word, and, in the name of God, gave everything away. A family in search of a cause, the Fullers moved to Koinonia Farm, a kind of Christian commune in Georgia, and then, with some ideas developed there, they went on to Zaire, where in the 1970s they launched a little something called the Housing Project.
Not a very classy, sexy name, but it was just the Housing Project. And then it was while we were actually in Africa that I began to believe that these concepts that we were working with could probably form the basis of a worldwide work. And we came back to Americus, Georgia in 1976, and then a chicken barn at Koinonia Farm had the first board meeting of Habitat for Humanity.
And so it began, in the midst of the peanut farms and pecan groves of Sumter County, Georgia, where, incidentally, you would be hard-pressed to find anyone living in a shack today. One of the side benefits to being the home to Habitat, which has become an internationally renowned nonprofit, with 2,500 branches, hundreds of thousands of supporters and volunteers, and just into the new millennium, it will have built or renovated its 100,000th home. Could Fuller have ever dreamed of such success? As a matter of fact,
I went back and looked up the minutes of that first meeting in the chicken barn, and I actually got goosebumps because I had forgotten what we wrote in the minutes. We actually wrote in the minutes of that first meeting that our goal was to build 100,000 houses for 1 million people. We wrote that in the minutes of the first meeting.
Fuller expects the second 100,000 houses to be built in 1/5 the time, or about 5 years. And so he has raised the bar a bit. The mission now, a good home for every single soul on earth.
That is the goal of Habitat for Humanity, to eliminate all substandard housing, to get everybody into at least a simple, decent place to live. It is profoundly religious, but it is also eminently common sense and good political and social policy to work in the direction of getting all of humanity, as a minimum, in a simple, decent place in which to live.
You'll notice Millard Fuller never refers to giving anyone a place to live, because Habitat doesn't. Those who meet the criteria, which generally means they couldn't qualify to buy a home any other way, still have to put cash down, make monthly payments on an interest-free loan, and invest a lot of sweat. Help build their own house as well as homes for others. It's a formula that has broad appeal.
The idea of enabling people to help themselves rather than just doling out charity is very attractive to people. We don't build houses for anybody. We build houses with people. They have to put in sweat equity. And that is appealing to people, that we are making people strong instead of making them dependent.
Using all the donated materials and tools it can get, the houses are largely constructed by volunteers. From college kids to retirees, from Oprah Winfrey to Paul Newman, from veteran contractors to people who have never held a hammer.
Watch your fingers, no fingers underneath.
They come a few at a time to individual home sites or by the hundreds to development-sized work projects.
Habitat for Humanity permits people to express what is deep within their heart by coming out and pounding nails and sawing boards to build a house for a family who is needy, a family who is living in inadequate conditions. We'll get a Catholic and a Protestant working together. We get a person of great wealth working beside a welfare mother. And I think breaking across all of those lines is attractive to a lot of people.
All I saw was beauty in the people, in their attitudes and personalities. It was like they paid on vacation to come down here and work on my house. I felt like I was like on top of the world.
For almost all of the people for whom we build houses, it's an impossible dream. It's like something that they was in a distant thought in their minds. You know, I would like to have a house, but I don't know how that could ever happen on my income. And I've been looking in the paper at what houses cost, and if you finance it through the bank, what the monthly payments would be, and I could never do that.
Well, it's far beyond anything I dreamed of. Living in inner city Philadelphia is where, you know, a lot of tragic stuff happens. So I just wanted a nice place to live for my children. It was like, it was unreal in a sense to me, because it would seem like just the other day I was living on the south side behind a house where men sold liquor, people, you know, sold dope, and it was like, God, I can't believe you did this for me.
There are more than 80,000 habitat stories, and somewhere in the world, a new one is being written. A new habitat home is being finished every 40 minutes. But building a state-of-the-art American house in East Africa, for instance, would be sheer folly. Even if local workers could build it, the family couldn't afford it. They couldn't power it up or maintain it, and it would stick out like a sore thumb. Habitat carefully tailors each home to the country and the culture.
These are the proverbial monkey bars. They're to keep monkeys and thieves out. And in this part of India, most of the time, the thieves are the monkeys.
Whether it's by offering the traditional good luck color on some shutters in India, providing livestock space beneath raised houses in the South Pacific, or in earthquake zones, building with ingenious interlocking bricks, Habitat clearly believes God is in the details, although doing His work is not the only motivation. There are very down-to-earth reasons for helping people over there who otherwise may end up over here.
They'll risk their lives on some rickety boat to get away from there in order to try to come to a place where they can have a better life. So doesn't it make just good, enlightened common sense to help people have a decent life where they are, rather than saying we're just going to have one country that's got everything great and the rest of the world can go to hell in a basket? And also you can build a house in a developing country for 5% of what it costs to build a habitat house in the United States. So it is so much, it makes economic sense to help people where they are.
Wherever they are helped into a home, the building process is only the beginning of, well, the building process.
We don't just dump the homeowners in a new house, people who've never been homeowners, and say, good luck. we stay with them. We have this nurturing process because we want them to succeed as homeowners. You see,
And Millard says, over Habitat's history, 99% of them have succeeded. And Millard says is a phrase we heard a lot back at the appropriately decorated headquarters, where staff and volunteers seem to be forever quoting him. Around here, they recycle their aluminum cans into home siding. On display almost everywhere you look are some of Habitat's countless awards and heartfelt personal tributes. If this is the perfect charity, it's because, in the words of Fuller's 7th book, there's a lot more here than meets the eye. Getting a simple, decent place to live, he says, simply changes everything.
And God bless you.
Educational performance of children vastly improves when you get them in a good house. The health of people improves when you get them in a good house, particularly children. Income of people tends to go up. People who have dropped out of school, who have been losers in life, they gain that intangible quality that we call hope.
It changes children, it changes parents, it even wants you to get up and better yourself. And my children are so happy. When I brought my child in before we moved in, my little girl was kissing the walls. I said, well, it's time to go. She said, bye my room, bye Dooney room, bye mom and dad room, you know. She was just kissing the walls. My kids are much happier. They don't have to fight their way, you know, to school or anything. It has gotten so much better.
Habitat for Humanity is dedicated to bringing dignity, to bringing the minimum that human beings need for a good existence on this earth.